you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
On guard. I'll let you try my Wu-Tang style.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to rip it up? Do you know what I'm talking about? Are you ready to give it up? You ready to dance? Are you ready to hit the floor? Are you ready? You see we're ready. Oh yeah, we're ready. Are you ready to beat it up? Are you ready to tear it down? Do you know what I'm thinking of? I'm not messing you around. You ready to rock? Are you ready to hit the floor? Are you ready? You see we're ready. Oh yeah, we're ready. Look out.
Welcome to this chess video, my friends, and we're going to do a series of videos on how to analyze a chess position. Now, there are inherent in every chess position two elements, a strategic element and a tactical element, and they have a symbiotic relationship with each other. They don't work independently. Now, normally when you and we look at a chessboard, or a chess position rather, our first instinct is to look for tactics, because tactics are decisive, and this is the proper approach in fact. But in this video, I'm going to focus on the strategic element. Now, strategy can be divided up into two areas itself. You have static elements, things like isolated pawns, open files, backward pawns, and you have dynamic elements, things like control of the center, fighting for the initiative. These are the dynamic elements inherent in a chess position. But in this video, we're going to focus solely on the static elements, because I don't want to make a very long chess video which fries your brain by the end of it, and you come away thinking, like, oh man, what was that? That was exhausting. So let us just check out this little portion here, and we'll reach a chess position. Now, you may think it looks very complicated because there are all the chess pieces on the chessboard. But in order to extract the static elements, all we need to do is remove the pieces and have a look at the pawn structure. And you'll actually be quite amazed at the information we can glean from doing this. So just let me remove the pieces, my friends, and we will take a look at the bare bones structure. And at a glance you can see that there is an open C file, there's a half open D file and E file, there is an isolated pawn here on D5, there are weak squares here on D6 and on H3, and there is a very strong square for white here on D4, because of course it cannot be attacked by a pawn. So these are the static elements: isolated pawns, open files, weak squares, etc. Of course, we don't view them in isolation, because the position of the pieces, and particularly the position of the king, can aggravate or diminish the importance of these static elements. For example, this weakness here on h3 and on d6, they are adequately taken care of by the two bishops on g2 and e7. The pawn on d5 is a much more serious weakness because it's blockaded by the knight and is immobile. And there is a static weakness created here on f5 by the position of the king here on g8. Because if the knight ever came to f5 and black was induced to play a move like g6, you can see it creates a whole host of weak squares around the black king. At present, however, the f5 square is taken care of by the bishop here on c8, which offers a reasonable degree of protection. But these elements might change at any time, depending, of course, upon the respective position of the pieces and the pawns. And it's up to us as chess players to try and determine which is the most important of these elements, whether it's static or dynamic or tactical, and we form our plans and ideas around these elements. Now, not every chess position contains such clearly defined static elements. And if I can just put the pieces back on, I'll show you what I mean. And if we just go back just a single move, and there's a pawn here on c4, and if I have that correct, this was the position just a move earlier. And you can see that there is no open C file. Whoops. There is no static weakness here on f5. There is no isolated pawn on d5. But it's white's move. And white can by force impose these static elements on the position with c takes d. And it doesn't matter if black takes with the pawn or with the knight, these static elements will remain the same because white can impose them by force. And of course you can see that is what has transpired here. There's still a weakness here on d5. These could be potentially weak squares, especially if the bishops were swapped off. And this is still offering some protection against the static weakness because of the placement of the king here on g8 and the weakness of the f5 square. So I relate these things to you, chess friends, because this is just one of the ways we analyse a chess position. Just one of the elements, the static elements in a chess position. And in other videos, we will go on to look at the dynamic element and the tactical element and how we can use these to formulate plans and ideas when we're playing our own games of chess. So that covers this element, my chess friends. I hope you enjoyed it. And suffice to say that thank you very much for taking the time, and I sincerely wish you well with your own chess. Take care and goodbye.